What's up YouTube? It's okmall and I'm back with another guide. And this time we're covering the troll fight. Now before we get into this video, we first have to cover the level requirements as well as where to pick the quest up. So if we look at our character sheet, you'll notice I'm level 10, which just happens to be the exact level we need to be to unlock the quest that will lead us into the troll fight. So with that out of the way, let's hit X and I'll show you exactly what we need to do. So this elder over here, we've probably talked to him many a times to do contracts. Well, now we open up his dialogue. He will have something in option number 1 called keep listening. Just skip on through. It doesn't really matter what you select here. Just skip on through his dialogue. And once you're finished talking to the elder, let's go to our next destination, which isn't too far away. It's just inside of the stronghold. Once you're inside the stronghold, head upstairs. From here, we need to talk to Weber, who is the governor of Manshire. Open up a dialogue, and it says rumor has it you're looking for mercenaries. So we're gonna click on through his dialogue. Again, we're just gonna keep on clicking through, keep listening, keep listening, keep listening. You get the gist of it. Keep on listening. Now from here, how much are you willing to pay? Keep listening. Obviously we need to agree to this. We'll manage it. Boom, there we go. We now have the brand new quest, which is going to be the troll hunts show on map. We'll zoom out a little bit. Now the troll hunt's always roughly in this location. And now that we have the quest accepted, now let's cover the gear options and what is generally accepted as adequate gear for the troll fight. As far as the protection rating on gear, when it comes to fighting the troll, it's generally accepted to have at least 10 protection per body parts. In this case, I have a little bit lower for my chest plate, but that's only because I'm utilizing light armor to take advantage of the brace for impact's cooldown. And generally speaking, the most important piece of gear to look out for is your helm. The reason for this is the helmets have a pretty decent control resistance on them. Now granted, I got lucky with a Osbrook dungeon that literally had a secret room with a jousting bassinet. So that's a one-off scenario. But generally, you'll be looking for gear that has at least 25 to 30% control resistance. And the reason why we'll take higher control resistance is the troll will use a skill called Deafening Roar. And this ability will do a couple of things. It will cause 5 psionic damage to all enemies over a huge area. Deafening Roar will have a 25% chance to disarm you, forcing your weapon to fall to the ground, and then you have to pick it up. You have to waste a turn to pick your weapon up. It also has a chance to stun you and a chance to daze you. So to counteract this ability, the more control, the better. I won't cover the rings or the necklaces because I do feel like that's completely dependent on your build. While there are some rings out there that do provide control resistance, it comes down to do you need to use it to add more control resistance to your character. I would say at the bare minimum, get 30% control resistance and you should have a decent enough time with the troll fight. Enchantments, I am also not going to cover enchantments. It makes no sense to cover those. Enchantments, unless you're trying to scum save the game, which, you know, it's entirely up to you if that's how you want to play. Personally, all my enchantments are completely random on my characters. So what you get is what you get. So if we take a look at my character currently, and we scroll on down, my control resistance is sitting at 45. And the only reason for that is this helmet here, which gives me 45% control resistance. So with my current gear loadout, I'm completely ready for the troll fight, and I shouldn't have a problem. Alright y'all, there is one piece of gear that I do highly recommend grabbing up, and since I've reset his shop, I'll show you exactly which piece of gear that is. It is the guard helmets. The reason for this is the 30% control resistance you gain by having this piece of gear. And it sells for about $2,500, not too expensive. Alright y'all, since we briefly went over gear, let's talk about which abilities may come in handy while fighting the troll. So let's pull up our abilities list. Now before I go into any of these abilities, please keep in mind that the troll fight is entirely doable without these abilities. Let's first go to the athletics tree, and the skill that you would probably want to get, again, not necessary, would be the dash skill. It's sort of your get out of jail free card. If you find yourself stuck between the troll and a log and you can't move without getting hit, you can dash away. If the troll goes to throw a boulder in your face, you can dash away. There's another ability that if you play as Arna, by level 10, you could technically get Battering Ram. This is another ability which you can utilize to avoid a boulder to the face. The other benefit of this skill is if the troll begins to regenerate, you can interrupt him by dashing straight into his face. With that being said, there are other abilities under the weaponry tree that can also help. It's depending on the weapon you're using. Not all weapons have an ability with a 2-tile range. Just keep that in mind. Axes, for one, do have a 2-tile range. Staves will have a 3-tile range. I believe 200 axes also have a pole right here, hooking chop. These are great abilities just to keep the troll from regenerating. But at the end of the day, so long as you stay within 2 tiles of the troll, he's only going to get 1 regen off before you get into melee range to interrupt. There's not much more to go over when it comes to abilities. Each and every single playthrough is entirely up to you on how you build. Nothing is ever set in stone. And I think that's just one of the reasons that makes this game so great. And now let's cover the healing items, as well as a few throwing items that you can take with you to use against the troll that will give you a little bit of an easier time, and we'll talk about that next. At this stage in the game, you should already be fairly familiar with the different healing items, what they do, what their uses are. Now we all know that VVs are very, very nice. They heal you for 35%, but they take away your energy. Ether inhalers are nice for pain reduction. If you are getting whacked by the troll, you have an ether inhaler. Herbal extracts work as well. And if you are carrying an ether inhaler, obviously have an antitoxin to decrease your intoxication level. Now as far as throwing weapons, you don't need to take them with you, but it can help you dish out a little bit more damage against the troll. And then we have smoke bombs. I'm a big believer in carrying a singular smoke bomb, and the reason why, when the troll fight starts, after your very first move, the troll will throw a boulder directly into your face, and if you do not have a movement skill, odds are you're going to be right in the middle of that, and no matter where you move, you are going to get hit with the boulder. If you instead throw a smoke bomb right in front of him, he can't see you, so he will not throw a boulder. Makes bridging the gap between you and him that much easier. Realistically though, this should be plenty. Now the other thing I want to talk about that's very important is having enough inventory space to pick your weapon up. So a lot of times what you'll see happening is he drops your weapon, he's 2 turns away. You pick it up, that's a turn, he moves in closer, and then you gotta move 1 square, and now he's probably gonna charge up his next attack, and then you can put your weapon on, avoiding all attacks to the face. When you do not have enough space, and he is literally a square away, you pick it up, you're just standing here with your pants down, equipped it, he now whacks you in the face. So just be mindful. Now that we've covered the items, let's go to the troll and we'll talk about him next. Alright y'all, now that we're engaged in combat with the troll, let's go over his abilities. Inspect. Now there's one thing I want to point out, he has armor durability. So to do max damage, you do have to decrease his armor to 0%. Next we'll cover abilities. First up, we have Rocktoss. Now, Rocktoss will mark an area on 1 turn, and the very next turn, he will throw the rock, and if you're still within that area of effect, you will take massive amounts of damage. It also has the added effect that each tile away from the target will increase the damage of the rock throw by 10%. That is massive. So let's go ahead and show Rocktoss right now. I'm just going to wait a turn. Now, as you can tell, I'm smack dab in the middle of the Rocktoss. If I move anywhere in this square, I will definitely be hit with the rock. So you gotta always be mindful. And this is where I was talking about movement abilities before. And if you don't have a damage mitigating ability that can decrease the amount of damage you're taking, it's gonna be huge. So we're gonna take this on the chin. Obviously I can't escape, so I'm gonna brace. And I'll show you what the damage looks like. Pretty freaking massive. Now if you look at my character screen here, we took a big hit to our noggin and we're now wounded. So massive hit, massive hit. So this time around I have dash. We'll wait a turn. The boulder's gonna miss this time, but if the boulder wasn't gonna miss, I could just dash away. Ta-da! There we go. Totally missed. Good job, guy. Good news is, if you inspect, the Rocktoss is now on a 9-turn cooldown. Another thing to note about Rocktoss, he could use Rocktoss 3 tiles away. 2 tile distance, you're fine. 3 tile distance, not so fine. And I will demonstrate that right now. Alright, now if we inspect him right now, Rocktoss is available. I am currently 1, 2, 3 tiles away. He will most definitely use Rocktoss. So I'm gonna wait a turn. Boom, he is now gonna throw a rock. Good news, however, his aim sucks. So I can easily get out of this rock toss by moving down to an angle, basically anywhere that's outside of this shadow here. He'll move, and he missed. Fantastic. With boulder toss being his strongest attack, it's very important to mind your positioning, especially if you're a ranged damage dealer. Keeping an eye on boulder toss and having a movement ability ready and available just in case you get caught up is going to be ideal. The next ability we're covering is Deafening Roar. While this ability doesn't do a ton of damage, what it does do is has a 25% chance to disarm your character, forcing all your equipped weapons to fall to the ground. If the effect fails, it has a 75% chance to stun for 1 turn. If this other effect fails to apply, there's a 100% chance to daze you for 3 turns. And this is precisely the reason why you have to have enough control resistance to help mitigate the amount of times that you are stunned, dazed, or disarmed. And that's the next thing we'll be testing out. So if we look right now, my control resistance is through the roof, and there's a couple reasons for that. It's at 65%. Biggest reason being, I have the jousting bastinets. I put control resistance on my boots and my gloves. You don't need to do that. That's a little overkill in my opinion. I would say 30 to 40%, you should be fine. Okay, that's Deafening Roar number 1. It dazed us for 2 turns. That just means we can't use abilities for 2 turns. No worries. Deafening Roar did nothing there. Now this is the spot you don't want to be in. We just got disarmed, especially if you're using sword and shield. You're dual wielding 2 weapons, or in this case, you have a crossbow and a quiver. Now it's going to take 2 turns to pick this up. His very next turn is probably going to be, it's not Shockwave, but he's going to move close to us. So I'd be able to pick up one of these. He moves close. Now this is a great example of a situation that you do not want to be in. I don't have enough inventory space to pick up my hunting crossbow, so I will end up losing 2 turns when I pick it up to equip it. Turn 1. Turn 2. There was nothing you can do about that. It's imperative that you have enough space to pick your weapons up. Now I'm going to equip this. There we go. Just wasting a bunch of turns to do so. One thing I recommend is if you notice when his Deafening Roar is going to be off of cooldown, switch weapons. So if we look right here, his Deafening Roar is off of cooldown. I'm not in the best of position, but it's definitely better than losing both of these. So I'm going to switch weapons. Right. That's not going to be a good example because that's a bad example, you guys. I'm sorry. But the idea would be you switch weapons, and if you drop yours, if you drop your weapon, it's not going to affect you any. If you drop this one and you have room for it, easy enough to pick up a singular weapon versus picking up the crossbow and the quiver. Fair enough. All right, well. All right, the next thing I want to cover is why control resistance is so important. So I went ahead and literally took all my gear off. So I no longer have control resistance. I have 10%. My fortitude is down to 15. We're going to cover a couple of things right now. So if we look and we inspect, Deafening Roar. Again, we're going to try to get stunned, and we're going to try to get dazed for 3 turns. I'm going to test the effectiveness of fortitude as well as control resistance when it comes to this ability. So his next turn is going to be a Deafening Roar. Let's just wait it out. Okay, he didn't disarm us, but he did daze us for 2 turns. Okay, we got dazed again for 2 turns, and our fortitude is at 25%. I'm going to go ahead and put another piece of gear on. Fortitude's at 35. This time around, we were stunned for a single turn. Okay, we got dazed again for 2 turns at 35% fortitude. Again, dazed for 2 turns at 45% fortitude. So stacking fortitude won't really affect much. I mean, we haven't been disarmed, which is good. So I'm not too sure if this is actually affecting my disarm chance, but I have yet to be disarmed. I'm going to continue to test fortitude with only 10% control resist. All right, we just dropped our weapon. Now 25% chance. I can't really say it was all because of fortitude or not, but we did just drop our weapon. And yeah, 45% with that. Now that we've covered Deafening Roar, let's move on to Shockwave. Shockwave is fairly easy to avoid. And again, if you're keeping an eye on his abilities and their cooldowns, you shouldn't have a problem managing this. Again, placement is very important. And with the battlefield constantly having these trees all over the place, you could potentially put yourself in a bad position. So if I check right here, next move is Shockwave, 100%. Even though I'm in melee range, he will prioritize utilizing Shockwave over Claw Swipe. Being that this is a 2-turn ability, this is usually the best time to attack the troll. So, attack. And as you'll notice, in this position right here, this square right by his leg, it'll make a triangle out. Easy to avoid. Step over. Boom. Inspect again, he has 2 rounds. We have to move 2 rounds. So 1, 2, attack him. And now you'll notice I'm 1 square over, so he actually makes it a square. I can move up here. Inspect again. 2 turns. Now, positioning's very important right here. All the squares around him, he can attack. So if I go here, he's gonna hit me. I gotta move 1 down or 1 over. In this case, I just wanna go straight over. So 1 over. Inspect again, 1 more turn. Boom. Inspect again. He's now gonna use that ability. Let's go ahead and stab him in the face. Another square. Plenty of room to move. I can move here, I can move there. Doesn't really matter which. In this case, I do kind of want to go here. That's... Make sure how many moves away that is. If I move up, he'll move with me. If I move up, he'll move with me. Deafening Roar, but we're not worried about that. Another Shockwave ability. Now this isn't the best place to be because I believe we are right in the middle of a Shockwave. I'm just gonna pause for effect. We are not, we're right on the outskirts. So as you notice, you'll notice right here, this is the square that he's gonna be attacking. And I don't wanna move too much further away from him, so 1 down. Again, we gotta maintain not being 3 squares away. And inspect again. So that's basically how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna spend the next, I don't know, 10-15 minutes figuring out all the positionings and what the area of effect looks like. And then I'll just cut that in for you guys. Bottom square. Triangle. Square. Bottom square. Triangular square. Alright, with that, Shockwave should now be fully covered. Alright guys, the next ability we're going to be covering is Claw Swipe. I'm going to be covering Claw Swipe whenever you're in a position where you're above his head, because the positioning there is very confusing. You might think that you're far enough away when in fact you are not. So we're going to go through, get hit a ton while doing this. So now that I'm in this position here, I want to show you guys. So from this square right around him, all the way up and over. This is melee range. It doesn't seem like it because it seems like you can get a little bit closer right behind him. But that's about as close as you are. If you're too far away, I could technically stab him right now, but he's gonna hit me. And we're bleeding, so it's whatever. We're gonna die. And yeah, we're in melee range, melee range. You get the idea. Again, just to reiterate the positioning. So any square around, above, 1 square ahead. I think it was this positioning right here. And on down. That is all of the troll's attacking range. And as long as you're being mindful of the positioning that you're in, you will not be hit by Claw Swipe. The next ability we're going to be covering is the Troll Regeneration. This ability he doesn't use right off the bat, even if it's off cooldown. He does wait for his health to drop before he starts utilizing it. Keep in mind when he does use it, you do have to interrupt this fairly quickly, otherwise he replenishes 5% maximum health per turn. He doesn't move, however, so you can get closer to him to interrupt if need be. As it says here, receiving a melee hit removes the effect and applies 200% plus damage taken for 2 turns. Which means that right after you interrupt his troll regen, it's a good time to start dealing some damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and whittle his HP down so we can talk about the troll regeneration a little bit more. Alright y'all, now that he's regenerating, he is at around 74% HP. Troll regen is active. And what I'm gonna test right now is abilities that are not melees. We're gonna try Jolt. No interruption. We're gonna try Firebolt. No interruption. We're gonna try this. Just also no interruption. So keep that in mind. If you want to interrupt them, you gotta hit melee. And in this case, we wasted 4 turns. And we're about to die. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart and we'll get him down again. And then I'll show you how much damage you can deal once he's done with his troll regen. Alright, now the troll's in the regeneration mode yet again. We inspect, he's got 4 turns on him. These 2 are on cooldown, so I should be able to hit him twice. So hit him once, he's gonna move, hit him twice, there we go. And he should still be, I think, was that 2 turns? I'm gonna hit him one more time for good measure. And all of those attacks should be doing 200% more damage. So not too shabby. So now that I've covered all of the troll's abilities and kind of how to avoid them and what to do, let's just talk about some practical ways to attack the troll. So one of the things I like to do, I always bring 1 smoke bomb because not always do I have a movement ability to avoid his rock throw. So what I'm gonna do to start this off is to throw this right here, right in front of his face. And as you notice, no rock throw, freaking beautiful. If you don't have a smoke bomb and you don't have a movement skill, there's about a 50-50 shot that the boulder will land directly on your noggin versus it being 1 tile away, allowing you to step out of range. So it's entirely possible that if you don't do any of these, you might be lucky and not get hit, but this guarantees he doesn't throw a rock in your face. Step closer, wait for him, wait for him again. There we go, he's gonna go into his normal attacking phase. So one good idea here, Deafening Roar. I always try to be at least 1 space away when he's gonna use Deafening Roar. So Deafening Roar is now available. I'm gonna step away. Now the biggest reason to step away during Deafening Roar is if you lose control of your weapon and you drop it. If you're right here next to him, you don't even have a turn to pick it up. You're gonna pick up your weapon and get smacked in the face. If you're at least 2 turns away, you can easily pick it up 1 turn and equip it another turn. So let's inspect him again. 1 turn on the attack ability. I'm just gonna stand still, attack him, avoid that, and just kind of keep this up. So 2 turns, 1, 2, attack him again. I can step out of the way. Waits. I was 3 turns away. Remember how we talked about 3 turns away is very, very bad? I was 3 turns away. Step up. Good news is he has horrible aim that time around. We inspect again. I can use a damaging ranged ability. Apparently not. I broke that. Because that was a goof on my part. It was red. I just assumed so. Inspect. He's going to be slamming us. Gonna move closer. Oh, I was a little too far out of range. Down. Deafening Roar. We did drop our weapon. Perfect. I wanted to show this off. So he's 1 turn on here. So that means we gotta pick it up. He moves closer. He's gonna use Shockwave next, which means I can put my gear back on. There we go. Step out of that. Look again. Again, 2 tiles. So 1, 2. Smack him in the face. Move out the way. 1, 2, smack him in the face, move out the way. And essentially this is what you're gonna be doing the entire fight. Now this is your very first time fighting the troll. There is a very simple way to beat him. Even if it does take you a little longer to beat it, you're more or less guaranteed to survive the fight. And I'll show you that right now. So 2 turns, 1, 2. I'm gonna smack him in the face. Move out the way. Oh, I messed that. I messed that one up. Inspect again. Right here. At this moment, when he starts walking back up, simple, just follow him. And that's basically it. If you follow this strat, you could practically do this without getting hit. It's when you begin to move yourself around the map and kite him around that it becomes a little bit more difficult. But again, placement. So long as you are keeping an eye on exactly where you're moving and how you're moving, you shouldn't have a single issue when it comes to attacking the troll. Now I'll just show the full fight sped up. All right, there you have it. That was a that was a long fight, and I screwed up a lot, which is fine. It is completely fine. I was obviously running out of energy quite often, so I couldn't use my dash as much as I would like. But again, I didn't build this around doing the troll fight. I literally just threw gear on for testing purposes. And obviously it's raining, so that doesn't help any. Yeah, but either way, if this doesn't show you how many mistakes you can possibly make during this fight and still come out on top, I don't know what will. Hopefully I covered enough information to help you guys kill the troll without too much trouble. And if you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!